see is what's better, to be honest. So like, but what lifestyle I like better. But I feel like since I traveled when I was younger, I like being able to stick and move. Like I like being able to move. I don't like being able to. I don't like being just locked in on one place. Um, Personally, you know what I mean. But yo, but I'm happy we can hop on here. You know, it's the money making money. We on episode. This is technically episode 10, but this is like I think our third episode. But at the end of the day, the thing that matters most is it's the ninth day of the Trump administration, baby. That's the real days I'm counting. I'm not even gonna lie to you. They are the only days I care about right now. Yeah, I'm getting our I'm getting our title set up. This is like our little our pre-convo leak leak time where I just got to get you the links and everything set up for Twitter. Um, yeah, it's just a warm up room. It ain't really. I haven't even really linked anything, but people are still getting a couple seconds. It's just a warm up though, just a little taste. Um, but we talking about week dang. All right, cool. So I just titled it "Week One with the Trump Gang." I was gonna put something else, but it's already up. Let's just add something unique to the post. Here we go, my guy. Boop, boop. I just said the first week. We saw it's the first week. It's bananas too. Bananas in the market today. It was so bloody. It's ridiculous. Bloody. It's a bloody Monday. It's definitely a bloody Monday. Bloody Mondays. Time to be sharks, man. Shark. The sharks are in town. I just sent you over that link. Ooh, Bloody Mondays. What did Dan Ives call it though? He said this might be the best tech dip for in the decade though. He said this might be the best tech dip for the decade. What? 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 I don't know. I like my man Dan Ives, man. He got style. The boy got flavor. The boy got flavor, and he been calling out picks left and right. Like, man, what's the boy from the Eagles? He been doing this thing. He been balling. In the markets, this Dan Ives has been Dan Ives and Tom Lee have been like on the money for like 2.5 years, going on 3 years. Everything that they have said has come true. Like they are on the money, bro. They definitely don't miss. They on they on a three-peat run up for this year. We're putting in first of all, we're putting in three-peat energy though. If you think about the markets in correlation to uh what's going on with the Super Bowl. We definitely putting up that three-peat energy, bro. Yeah, that was bloody, huh? That was crazy. You watched that game? Was you tapped in? Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't watch it either. I'm gonna watch the Super Bowl with my guy though, but man, I was just too involved in this deep seek AI. I was just paying too much attention to this deep seek. I'm just like, man, I'm just like, what is going on? Talk to him. Are you talking about the Stargate protocol? Mm. Hold on. My bad, my bad, my bad.
You good?
You gonna have to go off again, bro. Start that from the top. I had my headphones plugged in the whole time, so I ain't had your mic
You
on.
good?
I ain't had your mic on. My bad.
You're good.
So
No worries.
run it
Is the
from the
audio
top.
coming through now?
Yeah, yeah, it's running through loud and clear.
All right,
Just
perfect.
start it over from the top again.
So basically, if
The
you've been
article
under
though,
a
the
rock,
article.
the past 12, 24 hours, it hasn't even been a day yet. Late last night, BTC started to unravel. We were trading sideways, chilling at 105. Timeline was complaining. We were getting bored at 105. We were pushing sideways. There was no volume. I just knew. I was like, all right, something's about to happen. We're either about to pump or we're about to rug. You see this initial sell off here. We popped down 105 right to like 101, 100. And then the sell off got a little overextended here. We went down to 97. But basically, what happened was this Chinese company, DeepSeek, came out and basically for less than $6 million, the number I'm seeing here is that they only spent 5.6 million on basically a rival to OpenAI. That's the parent company to ChatGPT. So most consumers are familiar with the consumer-facing side of the business, which is ChatGPT. You can use it
Mm-hmm.
online. You can download it on your phone. You can make it pretty much do your job for you at work to a certain extent. But the fear here is that U.S. markets, most of the stock market these days is technology companies, and companies like Nvidia make up essentially like a disproportionate amount of the market. You have like the giants, right? You have your Googles, your Amazons, your Teslas,
Mm-hmm.
Oracle. Nvidia is a big player though, so I guess this initial overreaction is the fear that these U.S. based AI companies are extremely overvalued. Trump just announced a $500 billion partnership investment in AI. So this is like a triple team up here between OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank. I think the initial investment it says here is going to be $100 billion, which is still a huge sum, $100 billion, and could go 5 times as that. And then, when did this news drop? This was January 22nd. So 5 days later, a Chinese company comes out and for pennies on the dollar creates a rival to OpenAI and ChatGPT. And from what I'm hearing from my friends who are very well versed in AI, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not an AI expert. Crypto is my forte and my expertise. But what people are saying that it's better than ChatGPT, it's faster, it's cheaper, it's open source. That's a big reason that a lot of people hate on, Sam Altman. That's the CEO of OpenAI. That's the parent company of ChatGPT, because they're not open source, but this Chinese company is. So the main narrative I'm seeing is that the U.S. stock market's overvalued. These AI evaluations are ludicrous. China can do it for pennies on the dollar. I think ChatGPT's subscription model, it was $200 a month for the pro subscription,
Right.
which it's
Completely
like over
overpriced.
$2,000 a year. And
Completely
then this
overpriced.
Chinese company comes along and it's free. it's free to use. DeepSeek is the name of this Chinese
So
company.
so they definitely released it as open source on inauguration on MLK Day, which was also inauguration day. So they're definitely making a statement as far as like, you can ban TikTok, but we'll give you something free that innovates even better than TikTok, right? And a lot of people, I have a Forbes article up asking about like the 5 questions that it tried to ask DeepSeek, and it wouldn't give it answers to it. And the questions had to do with why is China criticized for human rights abuses with the Uyghurs? What is Taiwan's status with China? What happened in Tiananmen Square in 1989? What are the best
Right,
critiques of Xi Jinping? How does censorship work in China? And the AI model responded exactly the same to every question. Sorry, I'm not sure how to approach this type of question yet. Let's chat
right,
about math, coding, and logic problems instead. Which means the clear agenda for China is that they want to get all of our information that has to do with math, coding, logic, and they want to use it to their advantage. That's what it clearly tells you. Like you have to be able to read between lines of articles, right? So it's clearly telling you that, just straight up, right? Also, another thing that the charts are telling you, it's not all U.S. markets though that are down. If you look at the S&P 500, it's still up 6,000. It's still, what did it close at today? It's still up 6,000. The Nasdaq is what shit the bed. And now we have to talk about the correlation between the Nasdaq and Bitcoin and why they're looking similar. And I think that's just because we're at the point now where the people who own most of Bitcoin are the same people that own the institutional money. So Bitcoin is now forever going to be moving with institutions. This is why I partially say I'm really Bitcoin adjacent in my portfolio. I know I had a lot of friends asking me about like, are you in crypto? Are you buying crypto? XRP, this. Mind you, I had a small account where I invested 4K in a crypto and it turned to 16K and it was just CRO and it was just from sitting there. And then I had 2K in Ethereum I let sit that turned into 4K, and then I turned that into options trading, which I had turned into at the height of my options career 110,000. So it's just like that's like the point, right? Is that I just became crypto adjacent. So I like a Tesla because they have Bitcoin on their balance sheet. That's another reason why I was investing heavy in a work sport because they had Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Now I've kind of like moved away from just being like, and then I still have a little bit of Mara in my big portfolio just to keep Bitcoin on my balance sheet. I definitely want to get rid of that though, and I'm not necessarily concerned with Bitcoin as much as I'm concerned with robotics and AI. I think I'm just trying to make sure that from an investment standpoint, I'm heavy in robotics when it gets priced into the market. I do not want to miss the evaluations of robotics into the market. So I invested in a company like UiPath. I am investing in robotic adjacent companies, which looks like AI, but it looks specifically like something else. Like it looks specifically like software companies that use like language models. Like someone put out a post on X regarding how easy it is to integrate the different like language models into Palantir because it's about the oncology. So now we're like starting to understand deeper. And Alex Karp has been talking about the like language models as a commodity anyway, right? So we have to
mm,
understand it's not just the light language model, it's how you use it, right? So now, and we're just in that stage where people are going to begin to learn more about AI. They're going to begin to learn the difference between inference and reasoning. They're going to be able to learn this, and then now we're going to start to develop. It's kind of like how the internet started, and you had websites, but then you had to learn search engines. You couldn't just learn URLs. You had to learn how to use search engines too. And then as search engines evolved, then you had to start to learn how to use applications, right? And you had to learn how they were different. And then they actually even made new languages for building the programs on applications and on different softwares. So we're going through that same development stages when it comes to AI, right? They're going to create different versions, right? We're finally getting to a nice version of FSD, which is full self-driving. I'm shamelessly shilling TSLL, by the way. I'm shamelessly shilling Tesla until I'm a millionaire. And I'm shamelessly shilling BBAI until I'm a millionaire. But here's why. Let me explain my thesis, right? So you have Tesla, man, they're doing a lot of things right, but in reference to the FSD, that they're on version 13 already. We still probably got like 10 more versions before we have full autonomous everywhere. But just think about how many versions and how many steps it has to get better and how it has to do to get better. Plus, look, Meta hit all time highs today. So it's not U.S. stocks, right? It's really not. Meta hit all-time highs. Apple's was finished high on the day. So it's not even U.S. tech stocks. This is really specific. This is really like, honestly, what I think is it's Tesla. It's China saying we're going to U.S. We get it. You guys have 5,000 more nuclear bombs than us. We're not about bombing. We're not about war. But let's play chess. Who will win this AI? And this is a pun intended because AI evolved from chess because chess was the amount of computation it needs to play out every position and the different alternative positions and moves that you can get from different positions was created first for helping chess gamers. So let's not forget
Yep.
AI is just chess. Let's not forget it. Let's not forget family. So now we're just like looking at, so that's kind of like my thesis, byproducts. And I know biometrics is going to be in every robot. Your robot has to know who you are. It has to know the difference between a child and a cat and the thing. It's going to need biometrics. So, I'm just like, man, could you imagine if there was just like robots that found people's animals because they had biometrics in them and they can like take the biometrics of an animal and you could send a little rover robot out and it completely just go find the animal? Like, could you imagine that? Right? Like the
That's
ability.
nuts.
So we gotta see the forest from the trees, and we gotta understand when there's like strategic drawdown, right? And this is definitely a strategic fear drawdown right before earnings week play. They told us that it was happening during the MLK Day, and we were, busy worried about the inauguration. But the thing that we should have been paying attention to, and some people were, was the fact that DeepSeek just changed the game. But changed the game not from a bad standpoint, like it's only hurting Nvidia short term because the market now needs to figure out, all right, cool, how much does this affect Nvidia's bottom line? But people getting scared and selling off other things is just because they want to wait till earnings, and then they like to run it up on you. They need to wait till earnings to run it up. But this is all like, this is all I feel like hedge fund money and institutional banking. Their short term assets that they get to throw around because it just seems like programmed fear, and it just seems like that. Like at the end of the day, it seems like a dip buy. It seems like go get your chips out because if we got dip on the floor, it's dip in the markets. Go get your chips. Go get your chips. Yeah, I mean, get the Tostito scoops. You see what I'm saying? And get you some. And get you some. Buy this dip. This is how we eat for real. You talking about eating good? Chips without dip ain't eating good. You need the dip for the chips, family. We gotta eat good out here. I think, I hope they get that. I hope they get that metaphor, man. It's poetic out here.
I definitely do think it's an overreaction. So I do agree with you to an extent that as of right now, Bitcoin is essentially mirroring the stock market. I don't think that that's gonna. I mean, we gotta get the Dow Jones out of here. It closed positive today. That's not what I'm saying. We're talking more about
I'm
S&P 500
specifically the
and the
Nasdaq.
Nasdaq,
Yeah.
more so the Nasdaq. The similarities here are crazy. I don't think that's gonna last forever, but you do make a really good point that now with ETFs, institutions, Larry Fink from BlackRock,
Yeah, they all
hard
think the
shilling
same.
Bitcoin. I think the other week he said it could be 500, 600, 700,000. Like this is the first cycle where it's not retail driven. It's mostly institutions, companies, nation states. Obviously, you got Sailor. What did Sailor buy today? I think it was 10,000 Bitcoin, something crazy like that. So you do see an intense correlation. I
Sailor
don't think Bitcoin is
Moon.
dumping because DeepSeek, you know, released. It's more so the stock market got hammered and Bitcoin is trading as of right now, as of late, in tandem with more so the Nasdaq and the S&P, not really so much the Dow Jones. That's crazy that the Dow was up today and that Facebook hit a new all-time high. But yeah, I mean, you see, it's mostly Nvidia getting clapped. BBAI took a hit. Tesla's down. I mean, they do utilize AI to some capacity. They're not like a chip manufacturer like Nvidia is, but I think in the long run, this is going to be a good thing. It's an open source project, and this is what technology should be doing, right? It should be getting cheaper. It should be deflating. It's going to force these companies like Nvidia to reprice, make their shit cheaper. Their company's going to have to be reevaluated, having, a 17% drop in a single day. Do I think it's a little overreaction and that people are emotional and are panicking like way more than they should be? Absolutely. Absolutely.
I
I
don't
mean,
see. I don't think it's necessarily an overreaction for Nvidia. I think it's an overreaction for AI adjacent companies, right? Like, why is Big Bear AI selling off 11%? Are you kidding me? Like, they integrate with Palantir, so they use like language models. So if the usage of like language model just became 95% more cheaper, then their efficiency for their company just got 95% better. They rely off of a company's ability to use like language models. Not they don't make like language models. They benefit off of it.
right.
So Palantir and BBAI to me are the biggest upsets in today, and they're the most under. And these are the two plays that are completely the most undervalued because they benefit on more light language models actually being used.
I guess the fear and the sell off with Nvidia is that if
Look at that beautiful uptrend though. Can we
it
just
can, yeah,
shield this?
seriously.
Can we just shield this chart? Like, is it not just telling you what's going up? Like, is this not the clearest? Is this not the clearest sign of institutional accumulation? Is it not when you pull back like that?
That is a healthy pump, my boy, up 145% just since November, bro. I mean, just since the election. What was that, November 5th, I want to say?
What looks better
Just
from
since,
a chart perspective if you weren't looking at the asset, this or Bitcoin from November? What would you rather invest in? Just look at the chart.
let me get
That's
the,
Ethereum though. That's Ethereum. Don't pull up
oh,
that.
yeah, we
That's
don't need this
that's
shit. Oh, my.
horseman oil. Look at that.
Here
Look at
goes
that.
probably the worst chart in the market. Like,
That's horseman oil.
if you've been holding Ethereum, you probably missed this entire cycle.
Horseman oil. If I was still
I
holding
mean,
Ethereum, bro, I would be at like $3,300.
Bitcoin definitely looks better, man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Since November, it's not up percentage wise as much, but in
But
my
what?
keep in mind as a Bitcoin maxi, my bias is gonna be
No. But look at the chart. I'm not saying look at Bitcoin. I'm saying look at the chart. Look at what the chart is telling you. Look at that big BRI chart. You can't tell me it's not going. It's not going back up.
oh, it's going up. It's
No, but
going
just
up
look at
for
it from
sure.
November. Look at the daily.
Let me put it on the daily 1 second. Sheesh. That is a vicious pump, dude. It went above $5.
Look how long it's been holding the uptrend though. It's been holding the uptrend for like 3 months, bro. Look at that.
Yeah, what
Look
is
at
this
that uptrend
specifically?
held. Look how strong that uptrend is though.
Basically pushing sideways, yeah. Which is what you want to see, but
Motion,
yeah,
right?
I agree.
I don't trust, bro. This is what I'm saying also, right? From a Bitcoin perspective. Now, since the majority of the ownership of Bitcoin is by institutional investors, it's going to move like an institutional asset. Now, I do like to keep my cash in Bitcoin. I'm not going to hold you, but honestly, I want more leverage. Like, and I just need more use case in my asset. I just need my asset to have a lot more use case. So if I can be Tesla, which is Bitcoin adjacent, or I can get it at Worksport, or I can strategically buy a company that has a great reserve, honestly, I'd rather play that. I'd rather play that. But I'm not gonna lie. When I touch my first M, I'm building me a mining bus, and I'm gonna fucking have all the solar panels on there, and I'm gonna mine, and I'm gonna heat the bus. My friend got a 2 acre property on this mountain. We already got a little idea going. I do want to mine personally. I think that's the ultimate backup because let's say mining. First of all, you're literally minting crypto. Like, are you kidding me? And you become like a Visa. Like, you literally make yourself like a Visa, MasterCard transaction dealer. automatically. And it pays off over time, like especially if you acquire the solar setup. I think it only is going to take you maybe 6 months to a year to see a return on profit, and then you get a return for like 5 more years before you have to buy new, 5 to 10 more years before you have to buy new equipment. Right? So I'm definitely obsessed with mining personally as a hedge because it's a double hedge. And this is why I said, look, it's multiple use case. If I mine personally, guess what? Even if I have like an EMP attack or something goes down with the internet, I have solar panels and I have battery. I can sell power. So I'm
True.
good. I'm good. No, I'm literally good on both use cases of, all right, cool. We go all the way to the moon and beyond, infinity and beyond, teleportation devices, all that, Stargate, all that, portals, all that type shit. And I can be, all right, worst case scenario, we just go bombing each other on some dumb stupid shit. We still Gucci. We still winning if you own the mining and you take the time to set it up yourself, right? You know what I mean? So I am looking into that from a long term perspective, but the portfolio, man, I got some Mara right now. Mara's been disappointing me. Luckily, I took out half my profits at like 150% on my options trade, or I wouldn't even be up right now in my drawdown overall from the play. The play is only printing me on average right now like 25% gain. So I'm not like,
It's
I'm
funny
not the
that we
happiest about
say
that.
only 25%. Like your average person would fucking love to have 25%, dude. Like,
But it's a whole new world, baby. It's a dumb money world. It's a
yeah,
dumb money
I do
ruin
just
kitty
want to
one.
touch on that mining briefly.
Yeah, go
On like
off.
a personal level in 2025,
Mm-hmm.
it's essentially nearly impossible to turn a profit as like a small scale miner. That's why you see these big scale companies now kind of dominating the space like Mara and
Mm-hmm.
Riot and other big companies. If you want to do it just from like a ideological level to support the network, I'm all in favor of that. Or if you
Yeah,
like have access to free equipment and you can get electricity for free and the miners for free. But right now, between like the two main places that I check the mining costs, this one resource I have is Macro Micro. They have it right below 90K. So they're saying right now average mining cost is 89K. And keep in mind, that's the price to mine one Bitcoin. It's about $89,000. Caprioli Investments is another great resource. They have it, I think, a little lower than that. They have it at $83,000 right now. So it is tough to do on an individual level, but if you do have access to free equipment or to free electricity, you can do it. Or if you just want to do it at a loss and you can minimize that loss to support the network, I'm all in favor of that. But the matter is, in 2025, like the days of individual mining, it's so far gone. It's basically been over for more than a decade where you could mine like at a personal level. I know someone who did try it a few years back with Ethereum, and with other coins. It's just tough to do, but I do love the idea of that, of like a Bitcoin mining bus, and it is a great way and a great resource. There's a specific name for it, but
but
it
but
helps. What'd you say?
it also will be multi-use case, right? Because it'll double as a solar farm, right? Because his property is 2 acres. You can't build a well on it, but there is RVs that they no longer can use because they got black mold in them, right? So it's just like, all right, cool. And then people throw away their RVs. So it's just like neighbors have a couple RVs they wanted to give them, and this property was like 2 acres, but it was like dirt cheap, right? So it's just like,
Right.
and they don't even really, you can't really live there because you can't build a well. So what can you really do? It's on top of a mountain. It gets a lot of sun. You already got a bus and solar panels up there. You might as well turn that into a profit. But it's a great way to have like a mini solar farm as well. I'm seeing them, and it says the S19s. Like this is what it says, right? According to recent calculations, with an electricity cost of 10 cent per kilowatt, the Bitcoin Antminer S19 Pro generates about 81 cent daily, and that's 102 terahash per second, suggesting that at the electricity price, you might be operating at a loss. However, If we look at different scenarios, other sources estimate that the Antminer S19 Pro can mine around 699 worth of Bitcoin per day. But after accounting for electricity costs, assuming 12 cents per kilowatt, the net profit would be around $10.10 daily. This discrepancy can be attributed to different assumptions in Bitcoin price, network difficulty, and electricity costs. So you have to understand that's 10.10 at the current price. And
Right.
if you count for Bitcoin being $13 million, right, that's like $1,000 a day. So you have to think about that, right? It's a thousand. That's what you really have to think about. This is a long term hedge play. This isn't a short term play. This is something you need to
Right.
think 10 to 20 years out, right? Like because that's how long your
Facts.
batteries and your solar is gonna last you, like like at the very least. So especially if you yeah at the very least it's 10 years, right? So you might have to
Exactly.
replace the LEDs after that, but the price of Bitcoin is still only going up after that. So that's why it's just like it's pretty incredible still because you're always getting paid in Bitcoin, which means you're always
Right.
getting paid in the ultimate asset that is going up while we still argue over which world currency to buy our like shitty foods and materials from. So you see
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
the term I was thinking of, it's called stranded energy. So it's basically when you have like these energy sources in like a really like remote location, like geothermal energy. So I think there's a lot of use cases in that where you have like a source of energy that's just in the middle of nowhere. Maybe it's like an oil well that's not connected to any other part of the grid. Maybe it's a geothermal mine or solar or somewhere where energy is being generated but it can't be used. Or let's say it's like in a small town and the town doesn't need that. I think that's an amazing application for miners to use that essentially free excess energy. And if you're remote, yeah, it can also be used for heat too, man. These miners, it literally runs hot. So if you're in a location where it's freaking cold in the winter, you might not need to pay for heating. If you're just running miners, you could basically
Yeah, you don't
heat.
need heating. You don't need heating at all.
They run really hot, man. And if you're in a small space, you're not gonna need a heat source. You could just heat that shit from the miners alone. So
Yeah.
I think in certain applications it does make sense, even in 2025 to do. Um, it's crazy how deep it goes and how many different applications there are. Like a lot of people just love to focus on the chart and say Bitcoin's sole purpose is number go up and that's all that matters. But it really is so much more
All
than
right,
that.
so
But
they said it can exceed 40,000. So they saying it's going to cost you like 40,000 per for one setup for one S19, right? So if you divide
right.
that by the $10, that's 4,000. That's 4,000 days. Divide that by 365. So that's still 11 years, though. I'm trying to think. 365. Yeah, that's 11 years to get 40,000 back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not including Bitcoin price goes up in value,
Right.
right?
Yeah. The
So
main things that impact the formula obviously is the equipment cost, electrical cost, but then right now if the mining cost is like 80 to 90 and Bitcoin's only at 100K, that's obviously going to impact your margin. But if Bitcoin goes to 500,000, then you're going to have way more of an incentive to mine because the profit margin is going to be there.
this what it said for profitability considerations. I just asked Grok, right? So he said the return on
Yeah.
investment depends on Bitcoin's price, mining difficulty, and how much of your electricity you can offset with solar energy. Calculations suggest that with the S19, it could take 2.4 years to break even with a daily profit of 1044, assuming 13 cents per kilowatt electricity cost in a stable Bitcoin mining reward scenario. However, this ROI can vary widely with market conditions, right? So you have to think about like that's the average case, and then you have to think about like a best case scenario. I'm noticing. Plus, it's not 13. I'm not sure if 40,000 is 13 cents per kilowatt. I have to. I need to figure out how to do that math, right? Because I don't think it's. I think that they're counting they're counting the cost essentially. But the thing about it is that you're guaranteeing yourself, at least with one Bitcoin miner, you're guaranteeing yourself $11 a day.
Hmm.
So that's $330 a week, right? 11, no, 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 $330 a month. Man,
Hmm. Yep.
you can still live good in Thailand off that. I'm not even gonna hold you, but or you can live at least frugal and moderately comfortable. Um, but if you're thinking about that as far as like where Bitcoin's price will be, man, what could that really be? That could really be 3,000 a month.
Yeah, the point I'm making is that 99 out of 100 times you're basically better off just buying the Bitcoin yourself, like from an exchange and then holding it, than trying to mine. The point I'm making is just don't invest like 6 figures, 7 figures into mining equipment. Thinking that you're gonna make it big. It's tough to do. It can work if you get the equipment for free and you get the energy for free. And it can work, in applications where you're, boosting efficiencies with the stranded energy stuff, or if you just want to support the network. Obviously, there's nothing wrong in that, but I mean,
I feel like it's like the doomsday approach to supporting the network.
it is. Yeah, I kind of like the prepper aspect of it, though. That it's like, yo, the network can't go down, baby, because I'm still gonna be running. Like,
Yeah.
so I do like that. But I'm just
All
saying,
you need
like
is a
the
backup
days where you
generator.
didn't even need a miner and you could just do it on a GPU and like open up a laptop, like those were like the OG eras where you could just pop up a laptop and mine. Then obviously it went to ASIC miners. I think it's application specific integrated circuit is what it stands for.
I think it's
Um,
one of the best doomsday hedges though, because you have to build solar for it. Like yeah, it's only for
right.
people that have like who have been like kind of living off the land and off gridders. It's like a perfect for the digital nomad and the digital off gridder. It's a good hedge. But like I was telling you, it's a 7 figure play. It's an 8 figure play. It's when you already have
Right.
7 to 8 figures in your portfolio and you want to be like, all right, cool. Let me diversify 10 to 20% of this into something that's just going to print me cash flow forever, and also be a hedge for a worst case scenario. It's pure power. You're investing in
Exactly.
power. Like you got the lithium, you got the you know what I mean in order to build this correctly. But I also like doing things different, and I like terraforming, and I like thinking about how can we make the world a better place and heal the world. So when you're in a colder place with these buses that you turn into miners, you can pull these things into greenhouses in the wintertime if you build like an airport, like if you take like a carport or like an airplane port and you just retrofit those to be like greenhouses, right? You can you can pull the buses in, close the shed, and heat up and have a greenhouse during the winter months as well. So it's just like you gotta like this could be, this could be a nice play for a lot of people who have an acre or two or who have big, who like to live off the land as well. Like you can be digital and live off the land. All you need is a Starlink. Like it's not even that difficult, right? So I'm just thinking, I'm
Facts.
just throwing that out there for anybody. If we get one of those doomsdayers, viewers, some OGs with with the capital to do this, like holler at me. Like I would love to run that and do a test pilot of that on my friend's property in Colorado. I would love that because I know I'm gonna do it when I hit my 7 to 8 figure mark. I'm definitely doing it because if I got the bus and the solar panels and I'm not there and it's just sitting there, why not convert them? If people have plots of lands and they have the things just sitting there, why not convert it?
Why not? I'm even thinking if you could even add another business on top of it and benefit from like ecotourism, make some of the buses like an Airbnb, you know,
Oh
that could
yeah,
be another factor. Like there's just so many ways that you could
depending on the location.
find.
But it would be nice to
Yeah,
have them like with real nice buses, right? Because then you could just do cold festivals all year round and then charge people, you know, like and you could just have the hot box, like it's just the hot box, right? So you could do something where it's just called the hot box and you just sell J's and stuff at festivals with the bus and you just promote Bitcoin. Like there's tons of
That would
different
be.
plays. Trust me, bro. And I got another play too. I'm just not saying it live because it's just too precious. It's just too precious to play smooth, bro.
Elon's not trying to get Zuckerberg, but yeah, you could have like a Bitcoin like mining conference in the middle of Colorado in the middle of winter. It could be freezing cold, like
Norway,
literally.
Sweden, everywhere, bro. Let's go to
Yeah,
Alaska, bro. Let's have an Alaska festival with all the miners and buses.
Antarctica, dude. We're taking over Antarctica.
Yo, how clutch would that be? That would be so crazy, bro. But this is how you got to dream. You got to dream big out here, and because you gotta be forward thinking, right? Because that's what's been happening the last what? How many decades?
Exactly.
It's technology wins because of the forward thinkers. It goes to the forward thinkers. Whoever can think forward from where we're at. Like, what's the next move? What's the next play? You see what I'm saying? And I think that's a, I'm not upset about mining at all. Because I know, although President Trump, we got to talk about some since it is the first week of Trump. Trump, you did amazing things. You allowed a lot of great strides for human civilization, um, and I still think that there's things that we can improve on, right? So there were some aspects I did not necessarily, man, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the the whole drill baby drill concept. I get the tariffs. I'm fine with the tariffs. I'm fine with getting rid of the illegals. I think we should take a step into one more serious about crypto too. I'm not sure if I really respect the whole meme coin play with no utility. I think I think it's showing a lot of your true colors, which is like, yeah, I am a businessman. I am about this money. Like you can try to act like downplay the $33 billion overnight was not a lot by saying the people that you with is not a lot, but at the end of the day, it's a lot for you. You don't get to just make 8 lifetimes worth of your money right the day before you become president, and I'll not talk about the ethics of that, because the ethics of that was pretty, to me, in my opinion, that was weak. And then saying you were going to do the Bitcoin reserve, and then having your son in Dubai saying U.S. is going to be Bitcoin, the Bitcoin country. No, Dubai is the Bitcoin country, or the UAE. They care about straight up Bitcoin. They're not like heavily invested in all the other cryptos. They may be making other cryptos, but they have a Bitcoin conference specifically dedicated to the maximalists of Bitcoin. So, to me, saying the whole digital assets thing, when I had time to really sit on it and what we talked about in our last Money Making Money, the digital asset stockpile, to me, that was just like a cop out, like to the fact that, there's other companies in the crypto space that's paying to have his heir and paying to have his son's heir, and now he wants to use it for his own family's agenda, because that's exactly what it means when you create meme coins with no use case. Like you're just creating it for your own financial wealth and your own agenda. So that was probably like the only thing I just didn't respect over this past week. And I think that's the Bitcoin price is showing that as well a little bit with that stall at 105. Like it wasn't just about the drawdown. It's about why did it stall so long? And I think it was because like a lot of the crypto community that was OG Bitcoiners and that really understand how important Bitcoin is versus all the other cryptos were mad that he changed up the script. He flipped the script. We were talking about Bitcoin strategic reserve, and he said his words just perfect enough to make us think he was going to do only a Bitcoin reserve, and then the day before he comes out with meme coins. So I did not like the character of that. I'm sorry, I just did not. To me, it was a greed is good mindset, and I really can't trust nobody that long with a greed is good mindset. You see what I'm saying?
I agree 100%, man. What he was talking about at the Bitcoin conference back in the summer, I think it was in Nashville, Tennessee, it was a strategic Bitcoin reserve. It was not a fucking shitcoin stockpile. So I think a lot of people wanted Trump on day zero to, mention Bitcoin in his very first speech and then also do an executive order. I mean, first of all, as like the leader of the free world, it would kind of be tone deaf, right? Like Sleepy handed him a bag full of shit. He's got a lot of stuff to clean up. Like it would be kind of crazy to not focus on, the border, Ukraine, Israel, all this inflation, all this other crazy shit that's popping off first. Second of all, if Trump does it, with an executive order, it means fucking nothing. It can just be wiped clean, Thanos snap in 4 years with another executive order. So it has to go through the standard process of um, going through a bill, going through Congress, passing both houses, all that shit. But that's going to take time. And you do have this sell off today, this overreaction from AI, but I'm still very bullish long term. But I think what's going to happen is that the market's going to get impatient. Even though Senator Loomis from Wyoming, probably like one of the most pro Bitcoin persons in Congress, even though this bill was introduced literally on July 31st, it's still just in the initial phase of being introduced. I don't think it's been read yet. Obviously, it hasn't gotten a vote. And I think basically what's going to happen is the market is going to get impatient when people realize how slow Congress moves and that this is going to take months, if not years, to happen. Now, again, Trump could basically come out and say something on any given day and say, okay, we assess the shit coins. We're not going to do a shitcoin stockpile. We're going to make it Bitcoin only. Or, hey, the goal is to get this done by the end of 2025. That could obviously shake shit up and change stuff overnight. But I think basically short term, you're probably going to see like a sell off, maybe back to 90 or 95. As people get impatient, but it is good that we're making a higher low here. This was from this range that we've been in since November. But, pretty much this low that we stabbed at here was like 88, 89. So it is good that we have a higher low here at 97, 98. But I do think we're going to go back down a bit, probably retest 90 to 95. Still super bullish long term. I think people just expect too much too quickly. That's my 2 cents at least. But
Right. Yeah, I feel like there's just the same manipulation in Bitcoin as there is in the institutions now. So I think we just got to take that to account. And that's why I see where you're coming from. Like, we just got to expect for resets,
the good
essentially.
thing is this. Sorry, go ahead.
I said, so yeah, we got to pretty much expect resets. You know what I mean?
Even in a bull market, you're going to have 20, 30% drawdown.
Yeah, but I'm just concerned also for the market's morality. Sometimes I get concerned that we get too focused on greed, that we don't understand, and man, we don't invest for morals. Like, I think we got to invest for morality as well, right? And that's just going to always be a part of what makes my analysis, and my alpha, because to me, it's just very poor character by a lot of people in the space. Sam Altman, poor character. Mark Zuckerberg, poor character. Trump with the meme coin the day before election, poor character. To me, these are like I'm seeing poor character be rewarded too, right? Like Meta's all-time highs. Like, but I get it because it's innovation, but I'm not sure if, to me, character is more important than innovation. I think when you have both of them, you just double down on those. So, you know, that's why I'd rather just double down on Elon in the robotics play with the Bitcoin reserve and extension. I mean, I grabbed more contracts today, and I'm all in on TSLL contracts. That's all I gotta say. Deep in the money contracts, but I'm all in. $24 strikes, $25 strikes, $26 strikes, and they expire next month. So it's a ballsy play. Ballsy play, baby. Scared money don't make dumb money.
good thing is this bill that Loomis introduced specifically calls for it to just be
A Bitcoin
strategic
reserve.
Bitcoin reserve, and it has been read twice and referenced to the Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs. So it's good. It's we're making progress. It's just got to keep in mind, guys. This is the federal fucking government we're talking about. Like speed and swiftness and quickness do not belong in the same sentence with the federal government. I mean, Trump can shake shit up. Elon with Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, they could shake shit up and they can make it faster. And it's definitely good that Trump has the courts, the House, and the Senate, and the White House. So if there was ever a time in history where we were going to get this done, it would be now. I'm just saying it's not going to happen in Trump's first week in office. And I think a lot of people, we didn't even touch on this. I'll just bring it up briefly. We could definitely touch on it next episode. We'll have to do another episode after Wednesday because we have the next FOMC, we have the next Fed meeting on Wednesday, right? So the market has realized and understood, there's a 96.8% chance we're not getting a rate cut, which is obvious. The JPAL's obviously going to hold rates here, but I think a lot of people are in this fantasy land hearing Trump's comments that Trump is going to, try to pressure JPAL to lower the rates, and that is literally not how the Federal Reserve works. It's the entire purpose of it is to not be political and to be apolitical. And Trump's saying that he's going to, write them like a strongly worded letter or whatever and thinks that JPAL's going to listen to him. I don't know if that's going to work. Like, yeah, the rates are going to stay the same on Wednesday, but what's going to cause a pump or a dump is that press release when JPAL opens his mouth after the meeting, and it's JPAL's tone is going to set the pace going forward for the rest of the year. Is JPAL going to be hawkish? Is he going to be dovish? Is he going to say no fucking cuts for the rest of the year? Like, it's not this, like, the rates aren't changing on Wednesday. It's what JPAL says in his speech. That's what's going to, I think, set the tone, and I think there's going to be a big dump coming on Wednesday. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I just think that when JPAL opens his mouth, it's not going to be what people want to hear, and the market's going to overreact, and we're going to dump on Wednesday. But it's kind of a good end off point. Like, tune into the next episode, guys. Like, we'll be back after the FOMC meeting.
Will J. Powell retire? Will Trump have his way? Tune in next time for the Money Making Money.
We got rid of Gary, so we're making progress there. Gary Gensler's fucking gone, but we still got to deal with JPAL. So we'll tap in with you guys after Wednesday and see what happens when JPAL opens his mouth. It's gonna be a fun roller coaster. Just buckle up. But my 2 cents is that we're gonna dump when JPAL opens his mouth. But
or will JPAL FAFO? Tune in.
I hope I'm wrong though. I would much rather be rich than right. So I hope I'm fucking wrong, dude. Like,
I mean, I can see the reality when you're wrong because I'm not sure if J. Powell wants the FAFO. Not sure if he's about that life. We will see of New York mafia real estate connected T-Man puts the squeezing on Powell. Stay tuned for Money Making Money, y'all. Let's get paid every day. And make sure your interest compounds the market's way. You feel me?
Well, thank you as always for having me. Appreciate you big time, dude. Looking forward to the next one.
You too, brother. Peace and love.